Hello, good day, everyone. Welcome to my podcast From Zero to Hero. I am your host, Tony Mudd, and I am so excited that you all took some time out of your day to be here with me today at this podcast. This podcast is all about becoming the best version of yourself. Before we dig into things, I just want to say a special thank you to all of our sponsors who are doing such amazing work. First up is Safe Touch Family Counseling Services. They are doing truly remarkable work, helping families heal from sexual abuse and sexual trauma. I just want to give a special shout out to them. And of course, last but not least is Goodies Bananas Pudding. Um, this is the greatest banana pudding that I've ever had, and it is the best. And trust me, you all will love it yourself. So I just want to say thank you to all of those sponsors and all the great things that you're doing. And I appreciate your support. We wouldn't be able to do this without you. So today I have a very, very special topic, and it's about embracing change when you're feeling stuck in life. How many times have we been that person? And I think that this is something that is really personal to me because I've been that person who's walked in that and experienced that in life. So before we kick off things, let me ask you a question. Have you ever had a moment in your life where you were doing everything you thought was right and you just seemed like everything felt stuck, like you couldn't get moving? Now you were putting in the work, you were doing all the right things, you were getting up early, going to sleep early, you were staying disciplined, but somehow you were feeling like you were running in place, like you were a hamster on a hamster wheel. I mean, you would get up, go to work, maybe feed your kids, feed yourself, get up, go to work, maybe feed your kids and feed yourself and do it all over again. And somehow, in some kind of way, this becomes life. This becomes the life that we live. And trust me, I have been there. I have been that person before. And that's why I've created this specific session on the podcast today. And I know what it's like to be that person. I know what it's like to feel and see change happening all around you, to everybody around you, but it's not happening for you. The change hasn't taken place for you yet. And you're watching others grow and achieve and evolve and live their best life. And it leaves you wondering, why am I still here in this same place, time after time, year after year, moment after moment? What am I doing wrong that is causing me not to move in the right direction? Have you ever asked yourself that? And maybe you've been putting in the long hours, and maybe you've been investing in your personal growth and your leadership skills, and you've been working on your relationships to get better relationships. But for some reason, nothing seems to shift in the direction that you want it to go in. Does this sound familiar? And I know for me, this does sound familiar, and it's extremely frustrating. And sometimes it makes you angry when you're going through this, especially when you're working hard towards something and it hasn't come to fruition yet. It hasn't come true yet, right? And it's like you're waiting for something to click, like waiting for something to fall into place, but you're still stuck. And maybe even that causes you to feel doubt and allow doubt to creep into your mind and ask you to wonder for yourself, am I on the wrong path? Am I even capable of the change that I'm seeking? When doubt tries to creep in and destroy your confidence and your hope and your inspiration, sometimes you may even question your own efforts, thinking, is it all worth it? It's all of the hard work, it's all of the time, it's all of the energy, it's all of the thinking, it's all of the sacrifice even worth me going after this dream, me going after my purpose, me going after the things that I want, that I think I believe, and that I see that can make myself more successful or a better person in this world. If you've ever felt that way, I want you to know right now, and trust me, that you are not alone. So many of us have been there, including myself, where you're doing everything right, but it still feels like you're not moving in the right direction, right? It still feels like you're stuck year after year after year, and it's crazy because that feeling of being stuck, it's not a dead end. It's more like you're at a crossroads or a signal that something in your life that you may not necessarily be thinking of or seeing needs to shift because you're on the edge of a breakthrough. And typically this happens when you're on the edge of a breakthrough. And if anybody has followed any of my works or read any of my books, you know that I love to tell stories. And I love to tell stories about animals and insects to break it down. And so today's story that I have for you is about a caterpillar and a cliff. So here we go. So there once was a little caterpillar named Charlie. Now, Charlie lived in a beautiful green garden full of leaves and a lot of sunshine. Every day, Charlie would get up and crawl around the garden, munching on leaves. And it was a simple life for Charlie. But one day, he reached the edge of the garden and found himself staring at a giant cliff right below him. Below the cliff was a river that he had never seen before. Charlie wanted to explore the other side, but he had a problem. Charlie couldn't fly. He could only crawl, and the idea of trying to make it across that river terrified him so. It made him extremely scared. So, what did Charlie do? Charlie stayed right where he was. Day after day, he crawled around the garden, eating the same leaves, feeling the same sunshine, but always wondering one thing: what was on the other side of the river? Now, here's the thing. Charlie knew deep down inside that he was changing, that just like a lot of us. He could feel it in his little caterpillar body, but he was scared. He was stuck in his routine, even though he was destined to become something more. One day, Charlie met a wise old butterfly named Willow, who had seen the whole garden cross the rivers and flown over the cliffs. She told Charlie, Charlie, you have a choice. You can either stay here crawling on your belly, or you can face the unknown. You have the potential to be something greater. You just need to take that leap. Now, here's the big moment. So, Charlie thought about it. And even though he was scared, he knew that Willow was right. He climbed up in the tree and spun into a cocoon, waited. It was dark, it was uncomfortable, and there was moments where he didn't know if he would make it out. It felt like forever. Charlie emerged not as a caterpillar, but as a beautiful butterfly. Later that day, he spread his wings so wide and so long. He took a deep breath and finally soared over the cliff, across the river, seeing the world in a way that he had never imagined before. Now, here's the big question. Here's where you come in. What cliff in your life is causing you to halt and stop your life? What is that big thing that is keeping you crawling in circles and circles in your life, avoiding to take the leap that you need to take to be that best version of yourself? What if, like Charlie, you've been stuck in one stage of your life waiting for that big moment to spread your wings and fly? Now, let me give you a little bit more about the story. A little bit simpler, but more powerful. Now, have you ever felt that way? Or are you feeling that way currently, right now in your life? Now, if you are feeling that way, now the great thing about this is that I have some really good tips that may help you. Okay. So remember, embracing change and feeling stuck, that is something that a lot of us go through when we're on the purpose, when we're on the road to finding our purpose and seeking what it is that we need to do while we're here on this earth. The first thing you got to remember is to start small, but start. Sometimes it's very easy to get overwhelmed by the big picture of things, by looking at life or planning so many goals or so many things for yourself. It is so easy to get overwhelmed by so many different things, thinking that you have to make a change all at once in one day. Change takes time and over a period of time. But remember, real progress takes small, consistent steps. Ask yourself, what is one small thing that you can do today to move yourself closer to your goal? Whether it be sending an email or spending 10 minutes reflecting on your day or the things that you got done today and how you can be a little bit more efficient about your day. All of these small actions add up over time. And before you know it, you will be building momentum towards your goals and towards the things that you want to work in your life. My father-in-law always used to say, if you put the weight on one spoonful at a time, you're going to have to take it off one spoonful at a time. In other words, just like the work that piles up little by little, progress happens the same way, little by little. Small steps every single time add up to a huge goal of completion for yourself. Now think about it. How many times have you made a to-do list that have been so long you was barely able to get, if anything, done out of that to-do list? That's because we often set ourselves up for failure by expecting instant success. We live in a world where we can buy anything we want instantly, from food, shopping, even having remote meetings like we're having right now. But working towards your purpose doesn't work like that. It takes time, energy, patience. It takes a lot of things for these things to happen for you. And if you think about your purpose or your goal or your success as planting a tree, wouldn't expect a tree to grow overnight, right? The first thing you have to do is plant the seed, water it regularly, wait, and day by day you might see a little bit much change, but you might not see anything change on the surface level. But below the surface, the roots are spreading, the tree is growing, and over time, with care and the right attention, the seeds turn strong into a beautiful tree. The same thing goes for your progress. Start small, take consistent steps, and give it time to grow. The next thing you have to do is change your environment. Now, this doesn't mean packing up and moving to a new city unless that's what you need, but it can even be smaller shifts in your environment that make a huge difference. Try working from a different spot in your house if you know that you're constantly getting distracted in certain areas of your house. Take a new route to work. Just to get a change of environment, to get a change of experience, or spend time with people who inspire you, which is a big one, right? Spend time with people who connect with you and provide positive energy to you, so you can collect some of that energy and take some of that energy and use it towards your goals. Changing your surroundings sparks new energy and new ideas for people. But sometimes it means changing the people around you too. Now ask yourself, while you are going through your process, whatever it is that you're trying to get out of life, are you in good company? Are the people around you helping you get closer towards your goals? Are they encouraging you to make better decisions and holding you accountable for when you don't get those things done? And I'll be honest, I am very careful about who I allow around myself and my family. And let's face it, energy, whether it be positive or negative energy, and even positive or negative habits, is extremely contagious. Negative energy and negative habits are extremely contagious. Whether they be good or bad, they will rub off on you. So, when is the last time that you have taken inventory of the people in your life? Are the people in your life adding value to you, or are they taking value from you? Here's an interesting fact. I love animals and I love the animal kingdom. And I just love investigating ecosystems, because ecosystems and plants and animals tell us a lot about life that I think a lot of technology and it takes away from us, where we don't get to see that ourselves. Did you know that penguins huddle together to stay warm in the freezing cold? Each penguin in that group takes turns on who's being on the outside, exposed to the cold wind and in the freezing rain, and then rotates back into the center where it's warmer. They all take turns. They rely on each other for survival. That the penguins that stick together actually strive. Penguins that stick together actually thrive together, while those who wander off end up alone and more vulnerable to predator, prey, or even harsh weather conditions. Think of the people in your life, like the penguin huddle. Are they helping you to survive and thrive, or are they leaving you out in the cold to be alone, to be susceptible to things happening in your life that you could actually come out of? Number three, the third step is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I know it sounds tough, and here's the truth about it. Growth doesn't happen in your comfort zone. I've heard so many people say that, but it wasn't until I went through my own growth process and understand and a growth process mentally and physically of getting out of that victim mindset of blaming everyone else for my decisions or making excuses for the decisions that I had and actually holding myself accountable. It wasn't until the end that I actually understood what this meant because this is a life experience I'm talking about right here. Getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. If you're feeling stuck, it might be because that you are avoiding the discomfort that comes with the change that you need to take place in your life. And let's be real here for a second. It could mean that you're running away from pain. I used to hear a speaker say that pain was a blessing. He would say that he would say that pain is like your internal defense system or warning system. It will let you know when something is wrong. It was a sense that God put in your body that something needed to be fixed before it was too late and died. That's what the speaker used to say. And and that still resonates with me today. So instead of avoiding pain, lean into it. It's a blessing. It's a blessing that you have it. It's part of your journey. It's part of your toolkit. And challenge yourself to do tasks or tasks or get into challenge yourself to do take on tasks that are a little uneasy and out of your comfort zone. You know, it may not necessarily be something that you have experience with, maybe in leadership or whatever it be. Something that can help you to take on some real transformation. And remember that pain is necessary for your process. Think about it. When you come into this world, you're born into this world by pain, right? The birth the birth of a person is one of the most painful experiences that a woman could ever have. But it is also the start of something new life, right? So why wouldn't you experience pain in your own transformation, in your own growth, when you are giving birth to your own dreams, your own ideas? Just like a mother goes through labor pains to bring a new life into this world, you are going to have to go through some pains as well in your moments. Building momentum for your success or whatever it is that you're going after, you're going to feel discomfort. You're going to go through struggle because it's supposed to teach you something in those moments. Growth is never an easy process, but it's a necessary process and it's always worth it. So the next time that you're faced with pain, instead of running from it, remind yourself that pain is part of the process. It's pushing you towards something new, something bigger. You're giving birth to a newer version of yourself and the kind of growth that does not happen without some struggle or some pain that's going to take place. So, the fourth thing that I have for you to help you in your journey is when you're feeling stuck, okay, it may feel like nothing is changing. Even when you're making progress, it may feel like nothing is changing. I mean, whether you're getting all of your to-do list items on your to-do list complete, you still may feel like you're not getting any progress because you're not seeing those wins that you want to see, right? So this really important to track your progress because it's going to help you track your progress because it's going to help you identify certain wins that you may be overlooking. That's why it's important to write things down, whether it's keeping a journal, making a checklist, or jotting them down. Your daily wins, that's what you have to keep track of. This is a simple habit. Excuse me. This is a simple habit that even when it feels like you're not moving, you actually are because you're providing yourself some evidence that you're actually moving. Now, this is something and a tool that I actually use every single day. And I think that I have mastered this because for the last 8 years, I have made a huge difference in my life by tracking my own progress. Did you know, and this is a fun fact about me, for the last 8 years, I've been able to track every single action and to do item that I've completed over the last 8 years. I can tell you exactly what I did 3 years from now on this day in this time of how I completed my life or how I completed the goals that I was working towards in that moment to get to complete my dreams that I'm looking forward to. It's become honestly my lifeline during times when I feel low or I feel like I'm not moving in the areas that I want to move into. I call it my dream book. I have filled over 60 dream books, and I wish I had it right here in front of me, but I don't. I have filled over 60 dream books. And the crazy thing about these dream books is that at the end of each year, I lay them all out on the bed and I read them. I read all of my dream books, the ones that I've completed and the ones that I'm currently working on now. And I have a conversation with God. And I say, God, here is how I've been using the life, the gift that you have given me. Here's the proof of how I've worked towards the dreams and the purpose to live with intent in my heart. It's like I'm presenting the facts of my progress to God. I'm presenting on behalf of the life that He has given me, even when things feel slow. So remember to track your progress. That way, no one, including yourself, can challenge whether or not you've been putting in the work. You always have the proof that you're moving forward one step at a time. And lastly, number 5. Now, this is a hard one, okay? But it's very important. Change takes time. Okay. Be patient with yourself. And the process is not always linear. There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be moments of frustration and times when you just want to give up. You want to throw in the towel. You don't want to do it anymore. You feel depressed. You feel sad. You might be looking, you might scream up to the heavens and say, God, why me? Because this it's not happening. I'm doing everything in my possible power to control it. And some things just may be out of your control. And realize that this is totally normal. This is totally normal and it's a part of the process. So be kind to yourself. Remember that even even remember the fact that even trying to change, just remember that patience is the price that you pay to receive the benefits of all of the hard work that you're putting in. Okay. So you have to be patient with yourself. My grandfather, he used to tell me all of these stories um, and share a lot of things with me. And as a child, a lot of them went over my head. I couldn't understand anything that he was saying as a child because he would always share a story that kind of went over my head. But it wasn't until I became an adult and I got some life experience that I started to realize what my grandfather was saying. And he used to tell me this story about a corpse flower. And he used to say that a corpse flower is one of the rarest flowers and plants and one of the most unusual plants in the world. And he would say that this flower only blooms once every several years. And before that, nothing seems to happen. He said that a gardener would water it, tend to it, and wait for what felt like forever. But there was no visible sign of growth. But deep down inside, under the soil, the plant was being prepared to do something spectacular. Then, seemingly, what seemed like to be overnight, the plant would burst out of the ground and unveiling a giant, beautiful flower that bloomed and only lasts for a short period of time. And it was extremely remarkable and unforgettable. And just like that flower, your growth may feel slow. It may seem like there's nothing changing on the surface, but beneath the surface is where it counts. You're laying the foundation of extraordinary work and extraordinary purpose. When your moment comes, all the time, effort that you've invested will reveal itself in a more powerful way. So stay patient, keep nurturing your dreams because the bloom is coming even if you can't see it yet. So, as you think about the changes you want to make, remember these tips. Start small, shift your environment, embrace discomfort, track your progress, and most importantly, be patient with yourself. Real change doesn't happen overnight, but with simple steps, you will be able to notice the shift that's happening in your life. Even if it's slow at first, you're still moving forward. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. We've reached the end of today's podcast. I just want you to remember that you can be your own self hero in your own story. Don't wait. You deserve better. You deserve to live better, feel better, and yes, even think better. Thank you so much for tuning in to the podcast From Zero to Hero. I'll catch you next week. Please be sure to check out my book if you haven't had a chance to, called Sometimes You Quit on Amazon. And it's really, really good if you're looking to shed those certain things in your life to build a new life that you can feel a little bit more happier about and more self-fulfilled in living life. Sometimes we just hold on to bad habits, and it's really about letting go of those bad habits to propel yourself to move forward for a better life. Thanks again, and I hope you all have a wonderful, safe week. I will see you next week. Have a wonderful day. Peace out, y'all.